Northern Michigan's real estate market is creating both millionaires while leaving some others behind. While some homeowners in Northern Michigan have seen their property values go up 100% since 2020, others have been completely priced out of the market. I'm seeing something that honestly terrifies me about 2025. We are living through unprecedented migration with over 8,000 people from Texas alone relocating to Michigan. Yet our housing inventory is at all-time lows, dropping 17% from last year. This creates the tale of two cities, where luxury waterfront homes are selling in days and first-time home buyers looking for houses priced under $300,000 simply can't find anything. And today I'll show you exactly what's happening in our market, where prices are going in 2025, and the perfect storm that could change everything. By the end of this video, you'll see if it makes sense for you to either buy or wait, and some areas that prices may even drop in 2025. Now let's look at the shocking numbers. The average sale price across Northern Michigan was $263,000, up over 7% versus last year. And also, if you talk about Michigan in general, there were 49,000 home sales this year, down from 56,000 just last year. Also, the average home that sold was on the market for 21 days this year versus 10 days just last year. All while inventory levels are down 17% from last year. Petoskey's median price last year was $418,000, which is up 100% from 2020. Harbor Springs' median sale price was $500,000, which is up 80% from 2020. Traverse City also saw a 100% increase, with the median sale being $378,000 this year. There are three major forces affecting our market. It seems like I'm asked every day why home prices have gone up so much in Northern Michigan. And I tell people there are three main reasons. Well, maybe four. First, Northern Michigan has always been an area people have desired to retire to, and that certainly hasn't changed lately. Second, remote work migration. It seems like a lot of people that are relocating to Northern Michigan are able to do so because they can work from home. For the longest time, it was hard to relocate to Northern Michigan simply because the houses were expensive and we don't have enough high-paying jobs for those houses. You add to the mix that now people can work for a different company that isn't actually located in Michigan. That means the idea of living and working in Northern Michigan is much more achievable than it once was. Reason three, short-term rentals. During the time COVID hit, we started seeing a lot of people buy short-term rentals in Northern Michigan in desirable areas. They would buy a house, put it on Airbnb or VRBO, and make a lot of money per night or per week. As time has passed, we've seen that market start to correct itself. It seems like a lot of those people who had bought those are starting to sell them, and there's a much lower supply than there once was. Still, those houses coming off the market and not being available for somebody to buy to live in definitely created a challenge. Now, I'm not here to debate the merits of short-term rentals. We can save that for a different video. So those are the three reasons home values have skyrocketed in Northern Michigan. And the fourth is really the reason real estate prices have skyrocketed everywhere, and that's interest rates. Back when interest rates were 3 or even sometimes less, it made buying a house in Northern Michigan a lot easier. If you look at these four reasons and factor in a very low supply of houses in an area, that is obviously going to cause prices to skyrocket. It's the simple supply and demand curve that we all learned back in economics. But let's break this down by property type. The first segment we're going to talk about is single family homes. Luxury homes that are valued at $1 million or more are taking about 14 days on the market to sell. Houses that are in the mid-range, more of the 400 to 800,000, those are taking just about 21 days to sell. And if you're looking at the coveted houses under 300,000, those are taking just 7 days to go under contract. Another popular type of property in Northern Michigan are condos. Condos in downtown Petoskey, believe it or not, can start as low as $300,000. Harbor Springs has a similar situation, and their condominiums start at $400,000. And if you go over to Boyne, those condos start right around $250,000. Now let's talk about different price points. One of the most popular price points in Northern Michigan are homes listed for under $300,000. That's typically where first-time home buyers like to enter the market and purchase their first home. Unfortunately, homes in that price range only make up about 12% of the total market. And if you're looking for a home under $300,000, you're going to have to act fast because those houses are going under contract in just 3.2 days, meaning you have 3 days and maybe a few hours to make an offer. Also, 92% of the listings under 300,000 are going into highest and best or multiple offers, meaning a house in that price range comes on the market and multiple people make offers, creating a bidding war. The two areas with the most amount of houses listed under $300,000 are Bel Air and nearby Central Lake. The next price point I want to talk about is what I call the middle range, which is from $300,000 to $600,000. Typically, buyers in that price range have bought a starter home and now want to sell it and buy a bigger home for personal reasons. Homes between $300,000 and $600,000 make up 45% of the listing inventory in Northern Michigan. Homes in that price range typically go under contract in just about 12 days, with 68% of those listings finding multiple buyers and going into bidding wars. The hot spots in that price range are Boyne City, East Jordan, and Charlevoix. Now let's talk about the luxury market. Historically, we have considered the luxury market anything over $600,000. Now, I agree that might be something we need to revisit, as some entry-level houses in certain areas are breaking that price threshold, making luxury homes start at a much, much higher price. Right now, 43% of the market is listed for over $600,000. Now, if you're looking for a home in that price range, you might not have to act as quickly. It is taking 28 days for those homes to go under contract. Also, if you compare two equal houses side by side, meaning one is on the water and one is not on the water, but they are exactly the same house, the waterfront home is selling for about a 60% premium. The prime area for the luxury market in Northern Michigan is Petoskey, Bay Harbor, Walden Lake, and Harbor Springs. Now let's talk about the geographic breakdown. Petoskey has seen the strongest appreciation at 8.2% since last year. Harbor Springs has seen the most growth in the luxury market at 7.8%. And Traverse City, which has become a tech hub, has seen a 7.8% change in growth. Now, it seems like we get as many people who want to live close to town as we do people that want to be out in the country with a little bit more elbow room. With that being said, Resort Township, which is one of the most popular townships in all of Northern Michigan, that encompasses a large part of the rural section of Petoskey, Bay Harbor, and even parts of Walden Lake, saw an increase of 6.8% in new construction this year. Bear Creek, which has large homes that are a little bit outside of town, also saw an increase of 7%. And Bay Harbor, which is always a luxury leader, saw an 8.9% increase in growth. Now let's look at some of the surrounding communities. If we were giving awards this year, we would give Indian River an award for emerging growth. They saw a 5.4% increase versus last year. Alanson, which has typically been an affordable alternative to Petoskey, also saw growth of just under 5%. Also, believe it or not, Pellston came in with 4.2% growth, and we believe a lot of that was fueled by being close to the airport. Now let's do a deep dive into the numbers of what it actually costs to buy a home. Let's use Petoskey as an example with a $418,000 median price. Now you're gonna wanna check with a local lender, and we know a few, to find the numbers for your exact situation, but I'm about to go over a scenario that gives you a very good idea of just what it takes to buy a home. First, you're gonna need a household income of about $120,000. And for that $418,000 house, you're gonna need about $83,600 to qualify for a 20% down mortgage. Now, there are certainly ways to buy a home with less down than 20%, but this is the example we're using for today. With that down payment, you're gonna factor in about a $2,800 per month payment for property insurance and tax. If you factor in those two things, your monthly payment is gonna be about $2,800 per month. Also, plan for around $4,200 a year for property taxes, assuming this is going to be your homestead. If you're going to buy a home here for a second home, the taxes will be considerably more. Now let's run the same numbers for Boyne City, which has a slightly lower median sale price of $378,000. The required income to qualify for that mortgage is going to be $108,000. To cover a 20% down payment, you're going to need $75,600. That will make your monthly payment about $2,500. Also, the taxes will be slightly less at $3,800 per year, assuming it's your primary residence. Now, it goes without saying, we have a current inventory crisis. The total active listings are down 17% from 2023, which were also down from the year before. We also have a lot less new construction. New construction starts are down 22%. Also, if you're planning to come to Northern Michigan to build a home, plan on budgeting about 8 months for the completion, which is 2 months more than it was last year. This is mainly because we have a labor shortage. In fact, the numbers show we're down 15% in the workforce. But let's talk about the future supply. Believe it or not, there are over 1,200 units planned to be completed in the coming years in Northern Michigan. This completion timeline is anywhere from 1 to 2 to even 3 years to see all of those properties come on the market. Unfortunately, I wish some of these developments were going to be less expensive, but 70% of them are supposed to exceed $400,000. This leaves us with an affordability gap, which we need 3,200 houses to make up. Now let's talk about buyer competition metrics. The average offer per listing for homes that are selling is 4.2. which means for houses that are selling, they are seeing over 4 offers per situation. Now, we have seen fewer cash offers. This number was much higher a year ago, but only 28% of the houses being sold in Northern Michigan are being sold to cash buyers at this time. Another interesting statistic is 45% of buyers are waiving one or more of the contingencies that are usually included in an offer, meaning they're offering no inspection, an appraisal gap, or not having to sell a home to buy. Also, 62% of the offers are including an appraisal gap, which means they're offering a certain amount that will escalate to a higher amount due to other competing offers. Now let's talk about some of my predictions. I believe people are going to continue to migrate from Florida, Texas, and other states around the country to Michigan. I mentioned earlier that 8,000 people have already relocated to Michigan from Texas, with another 2,500 coming from Florida. And I believe personally that that number from Florida is going to continue to increase as they experience hotter weather and more natural disasters. A couple of other indicators is we've seen 3,200 people who work remotely relocate to the state of Michigan. Also, the retiree population is always going to find Northern Michigan to be a hotspot, with over 4,100 of them doing so already. The second key factor is supply. We are simply not going to have enough houses for the demand in Northern Michigan, specifically in the lower price ranges. I wish we had some subdivisions going up, and I know this is a controversial topic because I hear a lot of people say they don't want these mega subdivisions coming up in Northern Michigan, but we simply need more affordable housing for the current workforce. Because while Northern Michigan is a great resort community, the people that service that industry need a place to live nearby. Number 3 is interest rates. It will be really interesting to see what happens with interest rates in 2025. All indicators at this point to somewhere between 6.5% and just under 7%. With interest rates being that high, it could continue to stymie the market. However, if for some reason they drop lower than that, we could see the market pick back up again. In fact, some people do think by the second half of 2025, we may see interest rates drop below 6%. Now, after looking at the data and trying to predict where prices are going to go in Petoskey, I believe the first half of 2025 will see around a 4% increase, with the second half maybe cooling a little bit and dropping below a 4% increase. But my prediction for the median sale in Petoskey after 2025 is $488,000. Now write that down and come back a year from now and look right. I think Harbor Springs will be similar. I think Harbor Springs will see a 4% growth in the first half of 2025 and maybe a little bit less in the second half, making their median sale about $575,000 by the end of 2025. Now let's talk about one of the more affordable towns, Boyne City. I also think Boyne City is probably going to see around an 8% growth next year, with 4% coming in the first half and 4% coming in the second half, making their median sale around $400,000 by the end of next year. Now earlier I mentioned that 2025 could be a perfect storm, and here's what I meant. With interest rates spiking above 7% and construction costs going 15% higher than they are right now, this could create even a bigger problem with inventory. Also, things like more of a labor shortage and supply chain disruption could make 2025 the perfect storm for even less inventory. Now, on the positive side, there are some signs that it could get better. I believe we're going to see some price correction in some of the overheated segments of the market. There will be some increased inventory in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, which will relieve a lot of pressure from the market. Also, hopefully we see some interest rate stabilization, which will allow us to start understanding what the new market will be like. Now you're probably saying, Gino, all this information is great, but give me some advice on how to handle it. So here is what I would tell you if you were sitting across the desk from me versus just watching this video through the camera. Make sure if you're considering buying a house in 2025, you get pre-approved now. Even if you want to do something closer towards the end of the year, a good quality lender will tell you exactly what you qualify and if there's anything you need to do to enhance your buyer power. Also, if you're looking for a solid investment, look at some of the emerging markets in Northern Michigan, such as Bel Air and Central Lake. One of the biggest tips I can give you if you're considering buying a house in 2025, and if it makes sense for your family, is to buy a house in the winter. There is so much less competition that you are often able to get a better deal in the winter months than you would during the spring, summer, or fall. Also, something we do to help our buyers is we actually have a program that finds off-market properties, meaning if you drill down to a specific area or even a specific town and you know exactly the price range or type of house you want, we're able to find sellers who are interested in selling that are not currently on the market, giving you the ability to buy a home that you're not going to have to compete for and not everybody knows is available. Now, what if you're a seller? If you're watching this video because you're considering selling your home in Northern Michigan, I have some advice for you also. The best time to list your home is between March and June, because now, while I mentioned a minute ago that the winter is the best time to buy a home, a lot of home shoppers don't start until the spring, making this the ideal time to list your home. Another piece of advice that I love to give my seller clients is to do a pre-listing home inspection. Now, Gino, doesn't the buyer typically pay for a home inspection? Of course, but I always equate it to this. Would you rather know the questions on a test before you actually get the test? Of course. And also, I never see home repairs as expensive as when a buyer requests them prior to purchasing a house. Meaning something that should cost $20 could result in a $200 credit being asked by the buyer. Also, I believe when somebody does a pre-listing home inspection and then makes the necessary repairs, it gives the impression to your potential buyer that you care about your home. Now, as we're seeing the market start to balance, we are seeing some warning signs and also some opportunity signs. And these are the key indicators I'm going to be watching closely as we head into 2025. The warning signs are the days on market are increasing. We're seeing many more price reductions. And we're also seeing some buyer fatigue. I have people that we've been talking to for a while just say, Gino, I'm ready to give up. I'm going to choose a different area or stay put because buying a home in Northern Michigan is simply too hard. Now, where is the opportunity in all this? Well, first, if interest rates drop, that will create a tremendous buying and selling opportunity. If you're a buyer, inventory increasing will give you many more houses to choose from, as well as the ability to potentially get a lower price. Now, after going through all of these statistics, here are my key takeaways. One, we should see market stabilization by the third quarter of 2025, meaning we're going to stop seeing the wild swings from first it's a seller's market, then it's a buyer's market, to just an equal playing field. We will still see price growth. Northern Michigan is going to continue being a popular area. Now, while it won't be as much of an increase as we've seen over the last 5 years, we're still going to see steady appreciation in Northern Michigan. Also, supply improvement. Some of these new developments are going to come to fruition and get completed and add much needed supply to the market. If you're watching this video and you're a buyer or seller and you want to stay more in tune with what's going on in the market, please reach out to me directly at 231-487-6141. And if you're a seller, we'll give you a free market analysis, some tips and tricks to how to maximize the value when selling your home, and even some strategic timing advice. For buyers, you'll get new listings, new price reductions, and my forecast on when the best time to buy a house is and where to find the best opportunities in the buyer's market. For more videos like this and everything Northern Michigan real estate related, please subscribe to my channel. And to talk to me directly, fill out a link below and I'd be happy to schedule a call.